Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all distinguished guests. Welcome to webinar session of Higher Education Expo 2021. With me here today are Dr. Alex, Dean of Mahakarya Institute, and we're supposed to wait for Puan Siti Kamaluddin. She will join us later. They will be presenting on a topic called Why Pursue the Creative Industry, where they will talk about the film education helps the freelancers become industry professional. So Dr. Alex, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, you may start the session now.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy rainy day, rainy Thursday. My name is Dr. Fischer. Very nice to be speaking with you. So we're a little unconventional in that I will not be presenting slides, but I will be presenting handouts, of which you're not going to be able to receive, but I will at least hold them up so we can talk about it. So today's topic, why pursue a career in the creative industries? Well, first, let me make this point very clear. The creative industries is an actual job. Many people think that artists don't have a job in which is a 9 to 5 or a job that is steady with payment. They think it's more freelance and so on like that. And I can assure you that is totally untrue. Many times when you're working in creative industries, you work more hours than you would if you had a normal job. So why do you do that then? It's because there's passion and you're definitely very interested in it. So the first thing I want to talk about, because at Mahakarya we're interested in the film industry, is, there we are, the film business. So the creative industries allows you or affords you quite a bit of creativity and freedom. We'll be hearing from Siti in a little bit. She was just in a meeting, will be coming in. Freedom in choosing the type of jobs you want to work on. Freedom in how you want to take on problems or projects. But there's one thing that's always going to stay the same, and that is the hierarchy. And when we look at the hierarchy or the chain of command, it's actually quite complex, in which you have producers, executive producers, and directors. And underneath each of these heads of department, you've got various other jobs. So there's not just one single job in the creative industries. There's actually several in a multitude of different departments. If you're a director, then you're typically going to work with the actors. If you're in camera, then you're typically going to work with technology. If you're a producer, then you're working with the business side, legal contracts, finance, and health and safety. I'd now like to see if there's any questions before I continue. No questions? It is a more interactive session if we ask questions about the creative industry.
They will ask the question in the last 10 minutes of the session.
Oh, they will? Can we open up the floor for questions now too?
But okay, sure. They will ask the question through the chat room.
Okay, all right. So if you have any questions as I'm talking, feel free to chat.
Yeah,
okay, all right. So let's define creative industry. Creative industry is different from the oil industry, is different from the culinary industry, is different from other industries, in that it is defined by thinking and creativity. That is the ability to create something that did not exist beforehand. Now, there's a difference between imagination and creativity. For people who are imaginative, it's simply the idea of thinking of something. You're not actually going to create it. And when we consider people who are in the film industry and those who have imagination. They're the ones that are creating worlds. They're often writing scripts, and they're developing this whole concept, and they're not necessarily worried about making it or creating it into the world. That is the job of the director. So you need people who are imaginative because they're not bounded by the realities of film production. Rather, you have people who can think of these outlandish ideas and they let the director figure it out. Creative people have to deal with problems all the time. Budget being one, talent, technology. But when you start to formulate your ideas in the creative process, you come up with something like this. This is a storyboard. So the idea itself for this was a dinner party. And as the director began to visualize it in their head, they had to be able to communicate that out so that our cast and crew could understand exactly what's going on. And then that's how they came up with those illustrations. Now I'm going to break down and talk about how the creative industry turns into rules and not necessarily regulations. So say, for example, we have a director who presents a storyboard like this. When they then present that to their director of photography, who's in charge of the shot sizes, they then change their language into something like this. So you can see the different shot sizes we've got. And then we've got rules. And ta-da, we have Siti Kamaluddin.
Good morning.
That is the creative industry if I don't know it.
Good morning, Pun Siti.
Good morning.
All right, so we have 3 questions, in fact. All right, so what are the types of courses that are being offered at Mahakarya? Sitting underneath your bag, I have the brochures.
Oh yeah, so we have great courses.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's
so new to this year, we have our Certificate 3. Now, the Certificate 3 is a course that is for beginning media makers. And essentially, what you're going to learn through the Cert 3 is camera operation, lighting, characters and sets, audio creation and recording, media management and video editing, Photoshop and image manipulation, and then on-set workplace health and safety. So that's the Cert 3 that's being offered. This is an introductory level. It's a year long, and after you take this course, you will be well skilled in working on sets.
yes.
Yes, and essentially we see it as a gateway or entry point into the film industry. You could definitely leave school after this, and you could work as a crew because you'll have the safety know-how, you'll have the technical know-how, and you'll also be able to have skills that will allow you for promotion within the company if you have a mentor. For those of you wishing to continue further, we have a diploma, the Diploma of Screening Media. We've been running this for 2 years, and we graduate our first batch of 5 students in about 2 weeks. This is far more intensive than this. Introductory, this is for people who want to become heads of department or graduate their career deeper into higher education, such as going for a degree or a master's or further on with that. This is a great course for people who definitely know that they want to be in the film industry and they want a career in it. Okay, so those are the 2 courses that are being offered.
Yeah. So level 3 certificate, level 3 and diploma.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let Siti answer question number 3 while I prepare for question number 2.
What's question number 3?
Let me ask it to you. Okay. Is there any demand for the creative industry in Brunei?
Oh yes. So we never have enough crew. So when I do go into production, it is much better now. But still, when I'm making feature film in the last feature film I made was released last year, Academy. I still have film crew, especially the head of departments and very specific department, which I still have to fly people in either from Philippines or Indonesia or yeah, sometime Australia. So we don't have enough content creators actually in Brunei. If we have enough, that means you and I will be watching less Netflix and more Brunei content. And this is not the case. The thing is that all of us are growing up and are being influenced by foreign content. It is important for Bruneians to want to go into this creative industry as part of keeping our identity also on, and also sharing our stories to the rest of the world. For me, this is my goal. And no, we don't have enough people in it. And a lot of the people who work in it are also not formally trained. So formally, like having a formal education. So nowadays, I see that people think they can go on YouTube and learn. Oh, yeah, you can do that. Maybe you can pick up some skill, but it is not the same, you know. And I always, when I meet younger students, I tell them, if you want to take a driving license, you still have to go to class and you have an exam, then you can drive a car. So if you want to create content and tell stories and hold the camera or do editing or do lighting, really you should also study the skills that we require to do this properly. So overall, then our standard of the production quality in Brunei will be at par with the rest of the world. So is key, and yes, there is a demand for it.
Yeah, and I will just, I will also just add, the creative industry in 2021 should also be considered media literate. That is, if you know how to handle the camera, understand the editing, then you understand also how the world works. And the world today is digital and is media. So I see the ability to use a camera, to tell a story visually and cinematically, to sounds can accentuate, how actors can position, and that is the same as
yes,
virtually and writing. It is a necessary skill for people to understand how this. Yes. First of all, so they can communicate effectively using it, but also they can understand where they might be manipulated. Again, it's about understanding the media itself, and then from there using your discernment.
And I like that, Alex, you talk about, you compare it to reading, and writing itself is skill, right? So for example, even if, and I see a lot of short videos out there, and they break kinds of rules. So in either in Bahasa Melayu atau in English, when we construct a sentence, you have to observe some rules, right? Grammar, the vocabulary, we have to do that. So in like I noticed
that's a rule.
It's a rule. So I noticed that a lot of untrained young content creators are breaking all these rules, so that when you watch the video, it doesn't feel seamless. So they break the axis, they so many rules, which is just like in English we have grammar, or in bahasa Melayu pun mana boleh sukati-sukati kan menaruh ayat-ayat ni kan, atau even macam the word, di, right? We have a space between another word, and then sometimes you don't have a space. I mean, there's a reason why you do.
Sure.
Yeah, just rules. And same like camera work and positioning of actors, editing, sound, everything, there is rules to it. And there's so much skill to be learned. And for me, frankly, I'm excited to see the new graduate going out there in the industry. And I know that our graduates are already working. So even though they haven't actually graduated, they already start working in the industry, which is good. There's a lot of demand for this. All of them are employed. And I think the younger ones are also sometime in the weekends are doing freelance work. Yeah. So there is a demand for this job.
Yeah, definitely. Skills.
Yeah, for this skill.
There will always be a demand for skills. And when you don't know the rules, you don't know the rules. Simply stated. I mean, there is a mystification about filmmaking, and that is it's so simple just to point a camera and everything happens. It's not, because it's a combination, and it's very strategic. It takes a lot of planning. And if you're ever wondering why your films don't look like the films you see in the theater,
Yes.
there's a reason, right? And it all comes down to technical skills of the people working on that project. Okay.
And Alex, just to add that another thing is that when I find myself and a lot of my team members, we put in like 16-hour days at most, or 14-hour days on set every day. I know there's not enough people working in the industry.
Yeah,
because I also want to just work like 10 hours, but because we don't have enough people, we're working very, very long hours. So yeah, there's a demand for it. There's jobs out there for you. Yeah.
And just to build off of that one too, because earlier on I mentioned about it's not necessarily a 9 to 5.
No.
Yeah.
No. So if we have a night scene, so typically I start my day at 4 and then I finish it at 8 in the morning.
Yeah. So she'll go, but there is something. Master filmmaker David Lynch, who is an American filmmaker, he often equates this to what's called the art life. And that is, your life is lived around these artistic projects, and you live through these projects. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's not a job where you wait for your paycheck. It's one in which you're waiting for your expression, your creative expression, your artistic expression. It's this ability to create something, like I said before. You imagine it and then you create it. Something that has never existed before, coming from your perspective, is now being produced for people to look at, to study, to question as well. So looking at question number 2, speaking of questions, how much are the fees? So we have, I'm going to put it easy and in a nutshell. And then if you're interested more, you can go on our website and take a look at it. This course right here, which is our certificate, this is $8,000 for the 1 year. There is a $1,000 administration fee. So that total is $9,000, 1 year for the Cert 3. For the diploma is, yes, right there. It is 13,238 per year. There are 2 years with this one, so it's roughly about $28,000.
Yeah, and you can pay monthly. For the certificate is $667 per month, and for the diploma is $1,103 per month.
Yeah.
We do have scholarships available that you can apply for, although you need to have really, really good grades for that and a good.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So there are scholarships available. What does a scholarship consist of? Your education is paid for.
Yes.
Right? Now we are looking for people, and we have quite a few scholarships available. We're looking for people who are passionate, who are committed, who do have some experience in filmmaking, and they want to now make the leap to that professional level. We're also looking for people who I think generally want to contribute back to Brunei.
Yes.
The Bruneian creative industry will grow the more people join it.
Yeah.
It's very much a chicken and egg situation, but we already have companies like the Otter Company based here in Brunei that is renting out equipment and making sandbags and so on like that. So there is an incipient and growing film industry here. And that's because people are doing it. They're taking the risk. They're saying, I'm going to do this. And you know what? It's actually taking place. So we're both, Siti and I,
but also, Alex, that even in a corporate world nowadays, that they have a media department, and social media is a very big thing. And with social media, either through IG, even TikTok or Facebook, Twitter, they need video content. So a lot of big telco companies and oil and gas companies, banks, so many industries, they need a media department. and they all need some sort of video content, whether it's for their internal use, for health, sometimes it's for work, health and safety. So there's need. Nowadays, people don't just want to read. So there is a need for this industry. Yeah.
Okay. So that answers the first three questions.
So will there be
The types of
degree
courses, the fees, and then the demand. Moving on to the next question, will there be a degree course soon? This is something that we are currently working towards.
Yes.
Probably in 2022, we'll have news regarding that, but it is something we're definitely looking forward to in the future, going certificate to diploma to degree.
And so myself, I studied in the UK, so I only recently learned about this, our Australian tape, since we have this program and partner with them. It is really fast track, it's like you fast track your career, because you can go from 4 O levels straight to a diploma program for 2 years. And then you go into a degree course in Australia, if you wish, for another 2 years and you're done. Am I right? You go straight into the second year. But other than that, we hope to have a degree program.
Yeah.
And if you don't have 4 O levels, so you have 2 O level, you can go to the certificate, 1 year, and then 2 years diploma, and then 2 years degree.
Lots of different pathways.
Yeah, lots of pathway. Or you just go and work because not enough people.
Yeah. Okay, so can a student holding a BTech level 3 diploma in screen and media use that diploma to proceed to your diploma in screen and media? Great question. So our diploma that we're offering, as well as our certificate now, that is validated through TAFE Queensland and also through the Ministry of Education. So TAFE Queensland is an Australian-based education provider. They are skills-based. So what they look at and what I assess when someone is applying to our diploma is what's known as recognition of prior learning, RPL. So if you come in with certain skills, that will definitely help. And it's all about finding those skills and then fitting them and saying, yes, you're completely competent in moving into this diploma. We generally have a nice transition from people coming from other creative medias, whether it's from certificate. We even have one of our current students went to Lim Kok Wing in Malaysia for 3 years and did a degree. And then she's our first international student from Egypt. She's now enrolled here at Mahakarya because she needed more skills. Yeah. Because when you go and do a degree, you might be basing your education in theory. Yeah. Whereas here we are practical. We are teaching you skills to set up lighting, how to turn on a camera, how to understand lenses, and understanding staging and blocking and editing, and how to use makeup artists to help achieve your look. There's really millions of things that we teach. Yeah, instead of doing a film degree or film studies degree, whereby you learn a lot of film history and film theory. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Nurhan is a very interesting case, and I think she's been here now 1 year with us, and she's got another year, and yeah, she learned a lot. I remember the first time she came, she's never seen a call sheet, which is a very basic production document. She's never hold a boom mic, so she had to learn all of that. And I think now she's really enjoying camera operating, yeah, which is something also she never did in her degree program with Lim Kok Wing. Yeah. So yeah, she's very happy to be in Brunei. Yeah, and to that point, education is mentorship based. So when you come in, we will work with you in the sense that, like I said, the film industry is very broad in the type of skills. If you have a certain skill for editing, we're going to work with you to help hone that skill for editing, because it is a vast and very diverse industry. Just taking a look at our student handbook, these are all the documents that we go through, the different categories that we cover, calendar. But as you can see, it goes all the way from producing through to, this is going to be script writing. There's so much to cover when we're going through this and turning storyboarding, that it requires repetition and practice, and lots of practice. So once a week, we're at least shooting a video, yeah, and it must be of a certain quality. We call that the broadcast quality. so that it becomes not such a big deal to go and shoot something. It's part of basically your DNA. Easy to jump on set, shoot, get it done, move on to the next project. And that being said, we have multiple projects going on at once. We'll have a long-term project that requires many weeks, maybe even 2 semesters that you must continually work on, as well as short-term, because the creative industry is never one thing and then the next thing and the next thing. It is a juggling act, because that's just the nature of work when it comes in and clients. We have another question. This is from Roddy Slade. Thanks, Roddy. Where is the institution located at? We're in Batu Satu.
Yes, Batu Satu.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with where LCB is, we're right across the
Just next to it, there's
just
a
next to
building,
them.
Plaza Atira.
Plaza Atira, great building, and we're just above the KFC.
Yeah, KFC is ground floor. Take the elevator up to 3rd floor, and you're in
Third floor.
Mahakarya.
Yes, welcome you if you want to come. We have an open day this weekend.
Yeah,
Just
our
stop by.
open day is this Saturday and Sunday from 2 in the afternoon until 8 in the evening.
Yeah.
So just come. You can have a look at our theater. We have our studio. We'll probably be doing some demo for stunt. So we'll do like rigging. So if you want to do like some flying or something like this, and then shot on green screen, and we show you how to change the background. We can show you our post-production facility where we all the editing, the different types of editing is done. Sound, our sound suite. Yeah, Alex, it's very exciting
It's
weekend.
very, yeah. Yes, so I think now is a good time to just talk about how people get into the creative industry. So I'll start with myself and then we'll move into Siti, who's far more fascinating.
No.
Yeah. So many of you might be making videos and you're maybe 18, 19, 20. I was very much the same, but I was making videos in South Africa at this time. And I was sending them to film festivals. And this is still a time, because this is late 90s, when making a video wasn't necessarily all that common. Today, it's all too common, right? You're not special if you make something today. Back in the late 90s, if you could put together a fairly competent video, you were going to be screened. And what I didn't like about this is I was an independent, small filmmaker. I mean, my budget was maybe $200. And I was going up against the likes of National Geographic and Discovery. And I just thought, wow, this is really unfair. It is a completely tilted stage. So how am I going to be able to compete with these people? I mean, they have all the knowledge, they have the skills and so on like that. So I began looking into film school. And then I left South Africa. I'm originally American, went back home to America and worked hard for a year, actually as a teacher. Filmmakers are actually very good teachers because it's all about telling a story, getting people to understand your point of view or knowledge. And saved up enough money and moved to Australia to do my master's. And it was in filmmaking. And while there for 1 year, I ended up staying for 10 and doing my PhD and being hired both by the university and later by the Queensland government in Australia to work at their film festival. So thus began my career. So my total career in film and TV has been about 25 years, but teaching career has been 20. And people always ask me, do you have any students in Hollywood? So you figure I've been teaching for 20 years, film and television. I've had a couple thousand, to say the least. Do I have any students in Hollywood? Yes, I have 2. 2 out of the thousands upon thousands. Now, why does that happen? Because, frankly, it all comes down to, I think, supply and demand and what they wanted for their lives. It is incredibly competitive in Hollywood. And people have this kind of idea and this dream, to go to Hollywood is really making it in the creative industry. When it's not. Really, you could have such an amazing life here in Brunei, creating a film industry and working towards building that rather than being overseas and working there. So of the 2 students that I have there, yes, you've probably seen their films. And yes, they're loving their life, but they're also busy 365 days of the year. And they don't necessarily have this work-life balance. So moving on to Siti.
Mine is not so exciting. What's your question? How do I get in?
Yeah, how'd you start?
I start from writing, research and writing. So, I did not go to film school. And I actually graduated in the School of Chemistry from University of Southampton. I was a Brunei government scholar and left at a very young age of 15 for a scholarship to go to boarding school in the UK. And because I'm a scientist by background, I guess that gave me the discipline to meet deadlines, and I'm very structured. So I like to approach things I have like a method that I will always apply. But also, and because I didn't go to film school, it took me a long time to get here, because if you don't go to film school, that means you have to learn from set and you have to learn from other directors. I mean, I worked in Malaysia film industry. My mentors are like directors like Mahakarya, Aziz M. Osman, these Malay film directors.
Mhm.
And because, if you go to film school, you spend like 2 years. I have spent so many years to learn directing and to learn how a film set work. So, and I have a student who follows me. Before he got enrolled into the film school, he followed me for 5 years. And as soon as he joined the film school, it just like fast tracked his learning. Like at that time, why I never go to I didn't go to film school. I didn't have the same opportunity as the Bruneian have now. And I was a straight A student. So of course the system will put me directly into science stream, and then I get put on a scholarship, and this is a scholarship you left after O level, so you didn't actually apply for it. You like get selected from the different schools. And yeah, so we didn't have a film school in Brunei. I didn't have the same opportunity as you guys. So I had to do O level, A level, and then degree, and then I did a postgraduate. So it was not as clear for me. It was kind of in out, in out. But how I get into it, even before I did all this mentorship with directors, I followed them with my mentors, is that my friend asked me to write and do research for a TV show. And I'm like, I've never done that, but okay, I'll do it. And then that's how I got into it. And then I got asked to work in front of the camera, which I hated, by the way. I'd like to stay behind the camera. And I did that for a number of years, but whilst continuing to produce and write, and then eventually go into directing.
Yeah.
So it took many years. I'm talking more than 10 years, guys.
It takes a while. YouTube makes you think it's a lot quicker than it isn't. In fact, if you look at a lot of the YouTubers that are influencers and so on like that, they went to some kind of media studies school. This just doesn't happen. They know what they're doing. They make it look easy, but it isn't. Let me now just briefly discuss 3 reasons why I think it's important to go to film school. And also I'll offer this caveat. When I was doing my bachelor's, my undergraduate, and I was considering film school, I didn't want to go because I carried the stereotype that I don't want to go somewhere to be taught how to make something creative. But then when I finally went, and a friend actually said, no, you shouldn't think of it that way. And it took me a while to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll apply. And I got in and I went. You go to film school to give yourself time. And that is, you can concentrate on cinema, on understanding what cinema is. What is cinema language? What are the rules? How do you make great cinema? Not just videos that are forgotten like that. How do you make something that sticks and resonates and tells a story and could even impact the philosophy of people, make them nicer, make them enjoy the surroundings? So you get that time to decompress, to go ahead and study a subject that you love, that you want to be great at. The second one is you're allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Very difficult to go out right away and start a project. And then if you make a mistake, your reputation's shot. And everything in this industry is based off of reputation. Even if you lower your price down to get the job, you're not on a successful path. And that is what Brunei needs more than anything in the creative industry, is successful people. People showing it can be done because they have the right skills to do it and to do what they say they're going to do. And so the third, you have time to think and to become great in your profession. You have time to make mistakes. Because we are human, we are completely mistake making. You should have that time.
Yeah.
Third, connections. And these are the relationships you form with the people around you, your classmates and so on like that become your team. It is team, filmmaking is team. 100%. It's a team sport. For those that just think you can set up a camera, turn on lights and perform in front. Yeah, you might be doing great, but you could be doing much better.
Oh, no. When I work, I like in an ideal world, I like to have 100 people around me. But in my last, because it's low budget, so my film, I had about, there is crew alone, maybe 60 plus crew on set. Sometimes we have over 500 people sometimes. But like crew alone, because we have so many departments, and my department, so director's team, there is 5 of us, just director's team. Lighting 10, grip 10, camera another 4, so there's a lot of people. On a very small scale, like maybe commercial, when I shoot, there's like 35 of us, crew.
Yeah, because everyone has a job. That's how it's got to be.
Specialize in something.
Yeah, and that is the director's vision. The director has a vision. Everybody works towards it. Even if it's putting a sandbag on a light, you're somehow contributing to the vision of the director. And that's what it's all about. It's a selfless act, but it requires that kind of perspective to say, my job, though it might be very menial and seem meaningless, is contributing to something greater.
Yeah.
Okay. We have 3 minutes left.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alex and Puan Siti. So since all the question has been answered, I have few question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's okay to ask,
Just
how
ask.
much is the turnover once you produce a film?
What is it?
How much is the turnover?
You mean the money made?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
so that will be the question posed to producer.
yeah.
It depends, because sometimes film have a long lifespan. So I know from academy, the budget is maybe $150,000 or something like that. I could be, because I'm not the producer, I'm the director. So that director is the creative head. So I have a producer, and definitely they have made the money back. They have already recouped the money.
So there's lots of ways to look at exhibition. There's box office, which
that's
is
only from box office.
Yeah. So box office, which is the first 4 weeks after it's released, that's when it
Yeah.
goes into the cinema and how it performs there. Generally, you're making your money back during this time.
Yeah.
If you have international sales, you can go to Malaysia or Philippines or further afield, you're going to make more money. After box office, then you could start going to OTTs, which are on demands, or
like progressive media on Netflix or Apple. Like our films are on iTunes or so.
Yeah.
So you make money from that, and
then you could go to airlines.
Our film is on Royal Brunei and a different airline, for example.
And then the final one is broadcast television.
Yeah. So when we will sell our film even to RTV or maybe some Indonesian channel, because unless we're making films in English, it's like you have a much bigger market. But because also we're working with a very low budget, so we can actually just sell to Malay speaking countries. And then what we try to do, and I think my producers and the team, they try to find a model for, this is not content creation, okay, this is just for filmmaking, and specifically for feature film. They find a model where you can work with this budget and you can recover the money back either through the different revenue stream. Yeah.
So it's money comes in many shapes and forms years later. I mean, it can continue to feed you later on. So it's not like one good that it's not like a sweater that you make and you sell.
No.
It's a long tail.
But just like any product, Dr. Alex, all products take time to
they do
take off.
Yeah.
And for filmmakers out there, I know it's not easy to,
Sorry,
first
I
of
have
all, go into
to
the cinema.
interrupt
This is really hard.
since our time is up.
Okay,
Oh,
I just
okay.
want to say, yeah, age requirements, it's more O levels. If you have O levels, then you can come to Mahakarya. That's our basic borderline right there.
Okay,
And if
thank
you're
you
young
so
and don't
much.
have O levels yet, come to and do our short courses. Get to know us, enter the film festivals and so on.
Okay, thank you, panelists. I believe you will have another session tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we have it.
Okay. Thank you all for joining this morning webinar. The next session will be at 10 a.m. From IGS. Okay, with that, I end with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Waalaikumsalam.
Bye.
Bye.